Okay, take 7. I'm walking in a beautiful park on the edge of Collierville. It's gorgeous, but man, there are a lot of people out today, out for a walk and for a run before the temperature gets 100 degrees. So I'm on take 7 as I try to film this Bible study. If you have your Bibles, please turn to chapter 6 of Daniel, and once you get there, take a second to read it. Actually, it's going to take you about 5-10 minutes. Then come back to the video. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to read Daniel chapter 6, and it is a companion chapter to verse 4, or chapter 4 rather. In chapter 4, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego are thrown into the burning furnace because they refuse to worship the golden idol. In chapter 6, we have a new kingdom, and Daniel is a part of its government, and his companions, many of them are very jealous of Daniel. And so they look for a reason to destroy him, and they look for a reason to accuse him. But Daniel is of such integrity, he's a man of such high caliber, that the only thing they're going to be able to find is something related to his faith. And so it isn't long before they are able to find the very way to destroy him. So they decide that to convince the king to write a law that for a certain amount of days, no one in the kingdom is allowed to worship anyone except for the king. No worshiping any other gods, no worshiping in any other temples. I've got someone running by, so we'll give them just a minute. Good morning.
Morning.
Gonna have to just film this way, otherwise I'm never getting through this Bible study. I tried about 7 other times, so we're just gonna have to pause whenever we have somebody run by or walk by, otherwise we're not getting through this video. So anyway, they decide they're going to have the king pass this law, and this is going to bring Daniel into direct conflict with the king, because there's no way that Daniel's going to obey a human government if it means disobeying the Lord. And so it's not long before Daniel's accusers are able to find him in the act of worshiping his God. And, in fact, Daniel does not go out of his way to disguise his faith. He doesn't rub it in their faces, but he's not hiding it either. He's not a coward, and he's not a traitor to the Lord. He's not going to be an anonymous follower of the Lord. He's going to be faithful to who he is and to who God is. And so when they find Daniel in the act of worshiping the Lord, they have him arrested and brought before the king. And the king sentences him to death. And in fact, he's going to be thrown into a den of lions where he'll just be torn to pieces, apparently. And he's thrown into the lion's den, and miraculously, God shuts the mouths of the lions, and Daniel is not torn to pieces. Now, this is such an interesting, cool story that we very often teach it to our children in Sunday school and in vacation Bible school. But what does it mean? Does it mean that if we're faithful, God will never allow harm to come our way? Does it mean that that we will never suffer or be persecuted, or would never die at the hands of evil people? Well, it can't mean that, because even within the Old and New Testaments, we have men and women and children who die for being faithful to God. They die at the hands of evil people. The likes of St. Peter and Paul and Stephen, some amazing people. James, the leader of the church in Jerusalem, they died for being faithful, and countless millions of Jews and Christians have died for being faithful followers of the Lord. So we know that this story can't mean that we will never face persecution or suffer under the hands of evil people. We know that. But what does it mean? Well, I think what it means is if we will spend time on our knees before God, we will never lack the courage to stand in the face of the enemy. That's what I think it means. Those who kneel before the Lord will never lack the courage to stand before the face of the enemy. Hold on, we're getting ready to walk by some folks again. So again, this is the only way I'm going to be able to consistently film this morning is to just keep filming. Morning, y'all. It's been a really busy day out here, and we're just trying to avoid getting anyone on camera. We don't want to violate their privacy or their right to just be out for a walk. But the only way I've been able to film today is just to go ahead and just keep filming and to avoid putting the camera on anyone. But that's what I think Daniel chapter 6 means. Sorry, right? No adjustment there, right? So the adjustment back to Daniel. If we are able to kneel and bow before God, we will never lack the courage to stand in the face of the enemy. That's what I think Daniel chapter 6 is about. Where do we find the courage to face our enemies? Where do we find the courage to face persecution? Where do we find the courage to face hostility? We find it at the throne room of God as we kneel before him. He will impart courage to us. If our hearts are captured by him, they can be captured by no one else. Well, I hope this has been helpful. I also hope you've enjoyed the view as I've walked through the cypress swamp. This beautiful park in the wetlands just inside of the city of Collierville. We'll just go ahead and just do a look around. There we go. Well, thank you for being with me today. Bye-bye.